everybody, welcome back to another Vincent ASMR video. And today I'm bringing you guys a bit of a special video. I feel a bit close to the camera, actually. I'm gonna back up a little bit, I don't wanna... Felt a bit too personal. But yeah, guys, today I'm just gonna be doing a video explaining, basically why I'm in England. I live in London, if you don't know, and I'm actually American, and someone requested the video, and normally I wouldn't have it prepared, so I'm gonna find it right now real quick. There's a recent comment though. Matt Walker, shout out Matt Walker. He commented on the scissor and paper sounds crinkle video. Scissors and paper crinkle sound video. And I'm just gonna be doing a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of an explanation. Why not? I can't lie to you guys. I've been slacking on that 100 subscriber special video. But I will get to it. Yeah. Which is I'm in the process of moving right now. Getting the keys to the house, signing all the contracts. So like outside of work, that's all I'm kind of doing. So it will be with you guys eventually. So I haven't forgot about it. Are we looking at the gain? I might turn the gain just up a little. So basically, so I was born in upstate New York. So not the city. I'm sure most of like the international audience even knows where New York is, so I don't really have to explain that. So I was born there, and I lived there till I was about like 4 or 5 years old, and then I moved, or no, like 3, 4 years old, and then I moved to Oregon. If you guys don't know where that is, that's like north of California and south of Washington. My international audience, I'm sure you guys know or you know what California is. So yeah, I lived there for a good amount of time. So from when I was like 4 to like when I was like 12 probably. Yeah, so I grew up there. That's like, a lot of my childhood friends are there. In terms of upstate New York, I don't really remember a lot, like very few memories, but like I didn't really have any like friends, because when you're like 4, you're friends with everyone. Just any kid who's your age is kind of like your friend, But in Oregon, I was there for elementary school and the beginning of middle school. I don't really know how to translate that. So yeah, I was there from like age 4 to age 12. I think that'll sum it up for you guys best, probably. And then my family and I actually moved to Paris, France. My dad's French, and my mom's American, so yeah. That was kind of the way we went, My dad got, a job opportunity there, and we decided to, or I guess they decided to do it. I remember the day that they told me that we were moving to France. I was like, oh, what the hell? I was so not down. Just because I think when you're a kid, you're really comfortable with the friends you have. Especially, I was 12, 13 around that time, it's it's a hard time when you're growing up, I think, because you're trying so hard to fit in with everyone and everything. But yeah, so yeah, I moved to France. I learned French. I went to an international school there. So I spent my teenage years there. Lots of teenage experiences, parties and, girlfriends and drinking, I don't know, whatever you want. Just the whole culture of growing up, being an adolescent or a teenager. Also, doing a lot of work, because the school I went to is pretty just hardworking, very stressful. Especially once we got into the last 2 years of high school. Now, this may differ depending on where you're from, But in France, the last 2 years of high school are essentially the years that kind of prepare you to go into university. And I know that in the UK, you guys have sixth form, I think. And then in the US, you guys would have like your AP classes, I think, in the SAT. So I think those are my bases covered. If you're not from there, if you're from maybe somewhere else in Europe or somewhere else in the world, maybe it's a bit different, but I think the whole world is kind of similar in that sense. So yeah, once I did the IB program, which I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it was a pretty difficult, very strenuous, I think, program. I think that's the right word. Very intense. And yeah, so I did that. I think it starts when you're in the second to last year of school and then finishes once you graduate. Then you have like IB exams. And so yeah, once, I was in France, I didn't think I was ready to go back to the US for a couple of reasons. Because I think that would, okay, I guess firstly I didn't want to study in France. Partially because I think I wanted to be back in an English-speaking country for my career. I'm in like marketing now, and that's very big in Anglophone, in English-speaking countries at least. So I think it would have been a bit weird if I went and studied in France, for marketing. Also, I don't think it's as big of a thing in France as it is in the UK or the US. So I didn't want to go to France. That's why I didn't want to go to France. I didn't really want to go anywhere else in Europe because of language stuff. I didn't want to it would have been cool to do like a semester abroad in like Spain or Germany or Italy or something, but I didn't really want to study there just because of language stuff. And I had already done that when I was 12, 13. Like I didn't want to like have to go and study and learn a language at the same time. That was just my opinion. And then it was kind of between the US and the UK. I was thinking about Canada as well, but it's just too cold. Not that the UK is much better, but I just didn't really know anything about Canada, whatever. So then it was kind of down to the US and the UK, and I was really like having a hard time deciding what to do there, just because, I spent a lot of time in the US. Obviously, I was born there. I had a lot of friends there, family there. And then the UK, I knew quite a few people that were applying for university in the UK. I had been and visited. I had friends who were from here, Obviously, it's a different culture to the US, but it is still English speaking, and, I don't think the culture is as different as it is from France to the US, as it is the UK to the US. So yeah, there was a few factors, I think, why I didn't end up going to the US. The first one was, considering going to university in the US, firstly, you have to spend 4 years studying, and in the UK, you typically only spend 3, because in the UK, you go into your degree, your university degree, with your major or your course, whatever, already decided. So I went in as a marketing student, or as technically a management student, and then I specialized. But in the US, you typically go in without declaring your major, and then after 1 or 2 years, you declare it. So I didn't really need 4 years. Another thing was the price of the education in the US is just insane. If any of you guys are in university in the US, paying, I don't know how much, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand in tuition a year, be very thankful to your parents if they're helping you out. Because that is expensive, yeah, just insane. I paid in the UK, I think we paid 9 grand a year, I think it's 9,250 now. But if your parents are helping for your education, or paying all of it, be very grateful no matter where you live, because that is, expensive. Yeah, and so I U.S. application, the university application process for the U.S. is just, a pain in the ass. So yeah, that was kind of the university reason why. Another reason why I didn't want to go back to the U.S. was kind of the culture, I think. If you guys are in the U.S. right now, I think there's everyone is very politically charged at the moment, and it wasn't like that when I left, or not at least not nearly as bad. I left in like 2011, and just, there's Trump got elected, and people are just being so politically correct, and everyone, I feel like, is just fighting, and I didn't really want to go back into that. I had a few friends studying at university, and if you say the wrong word or like whatever, then people get mad about it. Everyone's very sensitive, and everyone's very aggressive at the same time. And I didn't really want to go back into that. I think the UK is a lot more chilled about that. Everyone's just trying to be nice to each other and not let politics come between them. And I think that is a big thing that people in the US struggle with, is, separating people from their political views. That's just my political view about it, my opinion about it anyways. I'm trying to think if there were any other reasons. Another reason was I just wanted to, I wanted to try something else out. I was like, why not? There's not much reason for me to go back to the US. I was just there like 5 years ago, but like I graduated in 2016 and I left in 2011. So I was thinking to myself back then, like, I was just there 5 years ago, I can just, I could try something new, why not, have another life experience and everything, and it worked out pretty well. I think there were a lot of reasons. I think a lot of it boiled down to just the university thing, I don't want to spend this much money, I don't want to study for 4 years, it just, my personal opinion is that, I paid $9,000 in pounds, in British pounds, which is probably like 15 grand in US dollars, per year for tuition, and honestly, I don't even think that's worth it. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I think the money you're putting on education is insanely high right now. Like, the money that they're charging is insane, because that's just for tuition. Then you have to pay for your accommodation, you have to pay for your textbooks, you have to pay for living, you have to just pay for food, water, electricity, gas, whatever. Like, it's a lot of money to go and study, especially considering everyone's getting degrees now, so they're becoming less and less unique of a thing to have, like less and less of an asset to have. So if I were you, if I'm talking to any 16, 17, 18-year-olds right now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to university, but I'm definitely saying consider whether what you want to do in the future needs a university degree. Don't just go for the sake of it, because in the long run you'll definitely thank your wallet, or in the long run you'll definitely, I don't know what, but your wallet will appreciate it in the long run, especially because the loans that you take out, if you do take out a loan, which is pretty common here, they have a lot of interest on them, meaning that when you take out the loan, every year that you don't pay it off, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, just something to be aware of if you're considering university and whatever. I kind of got sidetracked. So yeah, those were kind of the reasons I didn't go to the US. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the UK. I'm gonna do this. I'd only visited like 3 times, which isn't like nothing, but for some place that I was gonna be living for the next 3 years, it was a lot. In terms of, like, it felt like I only went 3 times and I'm about to live there for 3 years. Like, that seems like, I should have gone more. But yeah, so I went through the whole UCAS application process. If you're from the UK, you probably know what that is. If you're from the US, that's essentially, or if you're from the US or anywhere else, there's a organization, a company, or whatever, that essentially, they're not really a company, it's like a government, through government stuff, but you apply through this one thing called UCAS. You apply to 5 different schools in the UK, and then they'll all give you offers, so you have to get like a certain grade, depending on your program or whatever. Like, you have to get like, 90 out of 100, an average of 90 out of 100 to come to our school, or like 70 out of 100 or whatever. So each school will give you an offer, or they won't give you an offer, each school that you apply to. And then once you get your results back, then that will kind of like dictate to what school you go to. I think that makes sense. If you don't know it and you're curious, I'm sure you can just look it up. It's pretty simple compared to all the other processes in other countries. So yeah, I applied to my 5 schools. I got into one of the schools. And yeah, so I started university, I think it was mid-September of 2016. I went to a school where I just didn't have any friends. I lived in dorms for the first year, and then moved out with some friends for the second year and for the third year. 2 different houses. And I loved it. Like, I can't lie, university was awesome. It was a fun experience. I probably should have went to my lectures more. I graduated with a first, which is the highest thing you can graduate with in the UK. I think that's like magna cum laude or something in the US. But yeah, it was great. I made a lot of friends. I had a lot of good times. I didn't go to a lot of lectures, but like in the UK, your attendance isn't required. So I probably should have went to more, but I ended up doing the best I could anyway, so I guess it all worked out. I got my degree in management with marketing. So I started with just a management degree, and then I specialized in marketing halfway through my second year. So I graduated, and then I kind of just decided. I didn't really decide. I kind of just felt like doing it, staying in the UK for longer. I've enjoyed my time here. I don't really see a reason for me to leave yet. So yeah, it's been great. That was kind of like a long-winded version of why are you in the UK. But I just felt like, I don't know, maybe some of you guys are thinking about living somewhere else or studying somewhere else, and I think I can help to hear someone else's story. Because it sure would have helped me when I was, 16, 17, 18. Thinking about where I was going to go to university, it's a big deal. Especially because, I looked at, marketing, like jobs you would go into if you got a marketing degree, and most of them did require a degree. So yeah, or most, that wasn't the right way to say it, most marketing jobs, they did require a degree. But if you are going to go into something that doesn't require a degree, consider maybe not going to university, or maybe like doing online or whatever. It costs a ton of money, and yeah. But yeah, now I'm in the UK, 21 years old, or 21 years young. I feel like I'm getting old though. It's almost 2020, which is crazy. And yeah, and after university I started this ASMR channel. Currently on 114 subscribers. I'm also working a job in marketing right now. It's kind of just what I do on the side. But it's been fun. Yeah. The UK is a good place. Not the best food, not the best weather, but the people are really nice. Everyone's very, no one takes themselves too seriously. Everyone's kind of just laid back, and it's a nice change from the US, I think. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed. I think I'm gonna cut the video here. Let me know if you enjoyed. Let me know what you want to see in the future. This was kind of a less traditional ASMR video. I don't really expect it to get that many views. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I will bring that 100 subscriber video soon. I've been slacking, I can't lie, so I'm gonna get on that soon. And I'm gonna see you guys next time. See ya.